Am I doing a video in a bonnet? Yes. It is before 6 o'clock in the morning. And I gotta get this video out to you, all right? Stay tuned. Behind it, and I'm sorry, you know, it's not the best lighting and the best video, but it's fine, okay? I need y'all to hear the message, okay? And so the place that I'm recently at in my life is like kind of like a RE mode. Relaunch, reset, recovery, redirection, all of the re's, the redo, all of that, right? And redoing doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Like, starting over is not always a bad thing. Now, when we talk about starting over, no, when you talk about not starting over, when you talk about like starting new projects, like a bunch of open tabs, right? Like continuously starting things and not finishing them, that's the problem, right? But starting over in a sense, but needing like a refresh or reload or restart, that's kind of where I am. That is, I'm not gonna say it's kind of, that is where I am in my life. It's kind of like a reboot type area. So this morning when I was up and looking at my footage and things that I record, I've been going back over. Listen, I wish I can calculate the hours of unreleased like footage that I have of me like not finishing vlogs or having vlogs and was too afraid to release them, or it was just a certain place in my life where I really had like a push, like reflect. I'm like, okay, that's where it happened. That's where I got caught up, and this is how I responded. My response to a lot of things in my life were very like, it's very like, why? I look back in that place in my life, I'm like, okay, I could have responded to this differently. I could have did this. Okay. Not in a like regret type thing, but more of like okay, so this is how you do better type thing, right? So I'm looking at one of my old videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have been mourning a version of myself that no longer exists, right? Because sometimes you want to get back. I noticed when a lot of people have babies and stuff, they say, oh, I want to get back to how it was before I had the baby. You can't, right? When we look back at COVID, we're not going back to how it was before COVID. 2019 is not happening again for us to go into another 2020 and redo all that stuff, right? But we do have chances to redo from where we're at, if that makes sense. So I'm looking at this, I think this was like this had to be in like 2021, 2020, somewhere where I was doing these videos, and I'm looking and I'm mourning this version of myself because I feel like I missed a critical time, but I did not realize that part of me was learning. That part of me was the learning, the growing, the maturing to become who I am now and be where I am now, but I allow myself to become like hard and upset with things that were not going my way. A lot of people won't admit that. Like sometimes we get upset because, wait a minute, my daughter just walked away. Hold on. When you want to learn and grow, a lot of times it takes the courage or the boldness to admit where you are and go from where you are. Some people try to, I don't know how this is possible, but some people try to start from above where they are because they see how other people are. They want to like, oh, I want to be there and I want to start right there. No, you have to go, there's a process that you have to go through, and it's not to hinder you, it's to help develop and grow you and mature you in ways that you can't even imagine, right? So this morning I had to come to the realization that, girl, you have to stop mourning that old you. Like, let her go. She has, that part of you has learned, has grown, has experienced, has seen, has cried, has hurt, has all this thing, right? But now that you're healed, you're able to get up and walk and experience and show and what you've learned and grow from what you learned. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's time to use the wisdom that you have. Now it's time to use the love and kindness that you have. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes we get in this mode where we learn, we grow, we heal, and we don't want to share our healing. We don't want to share our journey. We don't want to, like, why wouldn't you want to share that? Like, what is the gatekeeping behind that? And when I came to the realization, like, I was looking at this video and I was like, dang, I was looking at this video, I'm like, I miss her. And I'm like, wait a minute. What about, why am I so stuck on mourning and remembering who I was in this time and wishing that I would have done this instead of living from where I'm at right now and being happy and content with where I'm at right now and growing on from here? Because there's nothing wrong, right? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong. I'm not trying to get like, there's nothing wrong. I'm not having a mental breakdown or anything. It's just a realization like, girl, okay, you got the sauce, you had the sauce, now use the sauce. You see what I'm saying? So, girl, use your sauce, right? There's no secret to success. There's no secret formula to, and this is all things creatively speaking. There was a time period in between all of that where I kind of lost my drive and ambition and goals. And I'm sitting here for maybe like a year or two. I'm thinking like, girl, what's the goal? Like, we're your own, because me and my husband we have our family goals, we have our marriage goals, and we have and I have my goals as like a mom and things like that. But my own personal goals, I neglected it for the sake of everything else. So I began to go into like this like swirl moment of like, what am I doing, right? I know who I am, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but where do I start from? So it took me really stepping back and really reflecting and being honest about where I'm at and not being where I think that people think I should be, if that makes sense. Not being where people telling me I should be, not being where, just like being where I'm supposed to be at the time that I'm supposed to be there, if that makes sense. Do y'all catch my drift? Hope this reaches the audience that understands that you start where you are and don't try to do more than you can, right? The beginning of something can be very tumultuous, right? And I don't mean tumultuous in the sense of like disorderly or confusion in your mind. I mean, it's like, whoa. Wait, how do I deal with this? How do I start? Those are the questions that you're asking in the beginning. Like, where am I going? Who am I starting with? Where am I starting from? What time am I starting? Those are the things that you need to be like doing in the beginning. And you really don't want to despise small beginnings, because let me tell you something right now. This is off topic, but I gotta tell y'all that I've been drinking mushroom coffee. This coffee right here, I drink mushroom coffee. I put the water in there, right? The mushroom coffee. It's the Rise brand that I've been drinking. Mushroom coffee. It's like $32, but I was spending almost triple that at Starbucks every month. So $32 on mushroom coffee is not a bad idea. So right now, my mushroom coffee consists of French vanilla creamer, that sweet creamer, the mushroom coffee, of course, cinnamon, honey, and agave, just like a little bit. You don't need a lot, okay? It's so good. To me, it's also good with almond milk. Anyway, back on topic. Now, what I was saying is that it's funny that I'm talking about this, because right now, me and my husband are at the beginning of growing our cosmetology school. And the beginning part, I've never paid so much to the beginning of something in my life, except for when I first had Lanaya. I paid attention to the beginning of my journey then, because it was similar to another part of my life that kind of was like traumatizing. So I was like, whoa, let me pay attention to see what's going on here. Like, girl, realize some things, all right? Okay, so at the beginning of something, right now we're in the beginning of doing this cosmetology school. The beginning is very, very critical. That's why I say the beginning can be very tumultuous, because it can feel disorderly, but it's not. It can feel chaotic, but it's not. Sometimes the feeling of something in the beginning being a certain way is just you feeling a way about the beginning. You know, things are not going to your specific expectation and hope. This is the beginning of it, right? So in the beginning of something, it gives you time to kind of like see what works and what doesn't work. So you can have a plan, right? You can be full on set, dead set on what you want to do, but that may not work. The beginning time is a good time to see what works. That's why you don't want to despise small beginnings. If something is small, girl, let that be small because it might be big one day. And can you handle the big if you can't even handle the small? Hello? We're talking one student, right? Having one student, if we cannot ourselves handle one student, right? What are we gonna do with 2 at a time? What are we gonna do at 3 at a time? What are we gonna do at 4 at a time? What are we gonna do at 5 at a time? We're gonna do it at 6 at a time. What are we gonna do, right? So I'm grateful for this one, right? Because this one gives me a chance to see like, okay, some things me and my husband had talked about. Like I wish I could find the papers and all the notes that we took. We spent days just like going back and forth, And sometimes we don't always have the same views on that thing. So on things, so we have to come together and say, okay, what works? Forget about how we feel about it. Forget about what we strongly think works. What really is going to work? Okay, maybe if we put these ideas together, it'll work, right? And it has been, it's working. So some things that we have done, we like, okay, we need to adjust this. We need to change this. We need to do that. And then we establish this to be the thing, right? That's working right now with one person. And now we're looking at, okay, let's multiply this 1 times 100 at a time. Or right now the building that's not big enough for 100 people. Let's multiply this times 20. Okay, if we had 20 students doing this, will this work? You see what I'm saying? Like, when you are visualizing something, when you're like talking about visualizing something for the future, it works for this small place, but on the larger scale, it may not work. So when you're visualizing something, you want to go ahead and visualize it for the larger scale. Even though when you visualize it for the larger scale, be okay with starting on that small scale. Baby, listen, right now, I'm okay with the small scale, right? Hear that noise? That's the sound of a 2-year-old up at 5 o'clock in the morning, because I think it's 5 now. Look, you see that? You see that cookie butter right here? She's coming to get that. She done had something to eat already this morning, and now she's coming to get her cookie butter. Where is she? There she go. Hey, girl. Oh, she still got cookie butter on the spoon. Listen, don't judge me. Don't judge Manaya for wanting cookie butter at 5 o'clock in the morning, okay? It's fine. We're fine, all right? So, long story short, how did I get here? Because you cannot talk about, you can't talk about the end of something without talking about the beginning. Like, how do I go? Like, now that I've ended that part of myself, where's the beginning? And how do I start the new part of myself, right? How do I submerge? How do I emerge and go from here? First, you need to relax. You're too tense. You're too anxious, okay? Well, you know what anxiety does? Anxiousness, it does to us. It separates your thoughts so you can't think well and you feel out of control all over the place. That's what anxiety does to you, right? Next thing you need to do, write some stuff down. And then after that, just do it. Listen, if you got to get you a Nike shirt, did you just throw that spoon? If you gotta get you a Nike shirt to remind you to just do it, get some Nike shoes, or just write down, just do it. Or just do it, right? Don't sit here and dwell on what was. Do it. Like, you just have to step out and take that initial step to say, you know what, I'm gonna leave that behind me. That part of me, I enjoyed that part, but now there's time to experience a new part. You can't stay there. Don't stay there, okay? All right.